Following that titanic clash against Aston Villa, the headlines were swallowed by the usual suspects: Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, and Mateus Cunha. Yet, beneath the noise, a silent architect was at work, a technician of immense efficiency and vital importance named Kobbie Mainoo. The Carrington graduate is undergoing a profound metamorphosis under the masterful tutelage of Michael Carrick, navigating through the storm of uncertainty to cement his status as an indispensable pillar of this united engine room. Forget the flashy stepovers or the desperate lunges into the box. The young Englishman is evolving into a refined metronome, a player who dictates the pulse, maintains the structural integrity of the side, and provides a lethal safety net for his senior peers. This is exactly the gem we expected from the academy, a talent that was criminally close to being discarded during the brief, turbulent reign of Ruben Amorim. There was a chilling moment in time where Mainoo's departure from Old Trafford seemed inevitable, suffocated by a lack of minutes under Amorim, compounded by the toxic cloud of a family dispute played out through cryptic slogans on matchday attire, igniting a fierce fire doused in controversy. Even the Gaffer himself, the legendary Roy Keane, did not hold back, slamming the youngster for bringing unnecessary chaos to an already fractured dressing room. And while the player remained silent, the message was loud and clear. Mainoo was fed up, disillusioned, and ready to seek a new horizon where his talent could flourish and secure his ticket to the World Cup. But destiny intervened just as the exit door creaked open. Amorim was axed, and a beacon of hope emerged from the Carrington mist. Michael Carrick stepped into the dugout and immediately restored the heartbeat of the Ten Hag era, the iconic partnership of Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo. It was the logical masterstroke given the tools at his disposal, and suddenly, a more cohesive Manchester United began to breathe again. However, football is no mere game of football manager. You cannot simply stack quality and expect a symphony. It requires a tactician who can manipulate the board to extract maximum value. Carrick didn't demand explosive pyrotechnics or reckless charges through the lines. Instead, he asked the 2005-born prodigy for composure, for a panoramic view of the battlefield before pulling the trigger, and most importantly, to keep a cold, calculated head when the heat of the press becomes a furnace. This wasn't an overhaul of his DNA. It was a pure evolution, perfectly timed for a player maturing in both physique and tactical intellect. Ruben Amorim once dismissed Mainoo as physically lightweight and defensively frail, failing to see the creative bridge that Bruno Fernandes relies upon, and while it's true his form dipped under the crushing weight of a 3-4-2-1 system, the criticism felt hollow. To discard a crown jewel of the academy based on a tactical mismatch is the height of injustice. Carrick understands the cultural fabric of the theater of dreams far better, and he would never overlook the sanctity of Carrington in his quest for redemption. But elite development requires a blueprint, not just blind faith, and at just 20 years old, Mainoo has a vast ocean of knowledge still to traverse. Step by step, the 1981-born manager is injecting confidence back into his pupil, sharing the secrets of a position he once mastered on this very turf. The former Middlesbrough boss has instructed Mainoo to become the ultimate conductor, controlling the tempo, dropping deep to recycle possession, and ensuring the team's spacing remains unbreakable. This discipline allows his veteran partners to take the glamorous risks, the long-range rockets and the piercing runs into the heart of the opposition. The heat map from the Villa game tells a story of unrelenting energy. He was everywhere, covering every blade of grass in the central third and drifting wide to catalyze the attack. Crucially, the Englishman recorded 8 ball recoveries, a staggering statistic that highlights the specific elite role Carrick has carved out for his protege. Carrick has known about this talent for an age, having worked with him since his coaching badges, and later watching him integrate into the first team during his previous stint. To see this boy perform with such maturity on the grandest stages is, quite frankly, stupendous. Sometimes we are guilty of forgetting just how raw his youth is, so I intentionally avoid suffocating him with rigid clinical instructions. Instead, it's just small, subtle positional tweaks. I have unwavering faith in his natural intuition. Kobbie is a phenomenal talent, and these words from the 44-year-old manager prove he isn't molding a robot. He is allowing a genius to evolve through the heat of battle. This tactical freedom allows the number 37 to iron out his flaws, maximizing his ceiling while serving the collective machine. And crucially, the Carrington graduate understands he is not bigger than the club. Looking at the midfield trident, Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro earn the right to be audacious, to spray those Hollywood passes and hunt for the spectacular. Their pedigree demands that freedom, but for the 2005-born starlet, he deliberately slows the tempo, holding his ground rather than charging forward, acting as the recycler who feeds the front line. This is the stark contrast between the Mainoo of the Ten Hag era and the refined version under Carrick's command. Under the previous regime, the Euro 2024 runner-up was encouraged to invade the box and unleash his lethal technique, but this often left Casemiro isolated, an aging warrior forced to hold back the tide alone, leading to a porous, fractured defense. With the wisdom of an elite midfielder, Carrick diagnosed the sickness and applied a simple cure, granting Casemiro more creative license while Mainoo sits deeper, acting as the anchor without being a pure defensive mule. The former Real Madrid man has the experience to pick his battles, rather than sprinting blindly into dead ends. This symbiotic relationship is the secret sauce behind United's recent 9-match resurgence. And while Mainoo isn't a traditional destroyer or a pure metronome like Jorginho, he is a hybrid masterclass, a player who can adapt to any partner, be it Elliot Anderson, Sandro Tonali, or Carlos Baleba. Is Carrick preparing his student for a future without the veterans, paving the way for Ineos to navigate the summer market with ease, knowing Mainoo is the versatile foundation of this midfield? If the script calls for an attacking surge, he delivers. If the Gaffer demands a disciplined block, he adapts without a second thought. The 44-year-old manager is weaving a more harmonious tapestry in the center of the park, ensuring his players don't just survive, they evolve. Witness the no-look brilliance of Casemiro or the newfound grit and calm of Kobbie Mainoo. Every cog in this machine is shining under the Carrick touch. Villa arrived with the same brutal intent as Newcastle, hoping to suffocate the United midfield through sheer physicality. And for 45 minutes, it worked, as the Red Devils struggled to find their rhythm in the Old Trafford cauldron. Yet this was the Carrick trap, a tactical rope-a-dope designed to drain the opposition's lungs before the crushing blow in the second half. Mainoo, the nimble, press-resistant box-to-box engine, showed his maturity by prioritizing structural safety over individual glory. As Paul Merson rightly observed, all Carrick has done is put players in their natural habitat, giving them the freedom to simply play football, and Mainoo has responded with an astonishing leap forward in recent weeks. What a time to be a Red Devil, to witness a boy who was nearly forgotten under Amorim rise from the ashes to command the Old Trafford midfield with such poise. A true star speaks on the pitch, and the Englishman's performance was loud, proud, and absolutely clinical. Whether Thomas Tuchel hands him the keys to the Three Lions engine room for the 2026 World Cup remains to be seen. But if he maintains this elite form, the German tactician will have a massive headache, especially given how rare Mainoo's profile is in the national setup. With Casemiro's departure looming at the end of the campaign, the mantle of responsibility will fall squarely on Mainoo's shoulders, and Carrick is ensuring he is ready to carry that heavy crown. There is no better mentor than an Old Trafford icon, and for the 2005-born prodigy, the sky is the only limit. You've been watching a random football production. We want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this analysis, show some love to the BallPulse crew by hitting that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for the sharpest football content on the web. Until next time, stay bold.